This is Eric Erb Live. You can find me online at theericerbshow.com and, of course, Spreaker.com/Eric Erb Live. And also right here on Anchor, that's anchor.fm /Eric Live. And you can always find me on YouTube, youtube.com /Eric Live. Okay, like, share, subscribe if you like this podcast, folks. Okay, let's get right into it. Okay, today's news is from naturalnews.com. That's naturalnews.com. And the headlines, Monday, October 5th, 2020. Breaking, the CDC flips again. Now says the coronavirus, or COVID-19, is spread through aerosolized respiratory droplets that linger in the air. This should be interesting. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, a discredited front group for the vaccine industry, has flipped yet again, this time settling on the claim that the Wuhan coronavirus particles do indeed spread through the air, riding along the aerosol split particles that are ejected from the mouths of people as they speak. The guidelines on how the coronavirus spreads was initially updated last month to acknowledge a role and possibility, the primary one, played by a tiny aerosol particles in spreading the virus, reports the Wall Street Journal, a pro-vaccine, pro-pharma publication. But the agency removed the changes only days later, saying that the draft version of the proposed changes has been posted in error. In its latest revisions to the guidelines, Monday, the CDC acknowledged the role of the tiny airborne particles. This means the CDC, after months of junk science and denialism, has finally come around to the position of the Natural News, where we explained from February that respiratory viruses travel through the air, hitching a ride on aerosol spit particles, but in the mouths since the CDC and the WHO have various times denied the coronavirus strains could spread through the air and then alternatively confirmed it that they could. Notably, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube has banned content and claimed that the coronavirus, or COVID-19, could spread through the air because such information contradicted the CDC. This demonstrates the idiocy of big tech censorship policies, as they are rooted in false authority of bodies like the CDC and the WHO that have no loyalty to anything other than the political narratives that enrich big pharma. Okay, what do you think about that, folks? I'll pause right there for just a second, digest that. This, as we know, the CDC always flips. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, likes to be, in this particular case, take their marching orders from the WHO, World Health Organization, and likes to be their foot soldier. The CDC has been more wrong this year than right. They're wrong in this case. They've been wrong in several cases about the coronavirus. The CDC really doesn't know what the heck is going on. They're just taking their marching orders from the political agenda from the WHO and i.e. members of the Democratic Party. They're coming out with nonsensical bullshit, as they usually do. The CDC is supposed to be a nonpartisan, independent agency, Center for Disease Control, and supposed to just look at the facts and say, okay, we have this COVID-19 coronavirus. What are the facts about the virus? How does the virus spread? What are the signs, the physical signs, once you catch the virus? How can you prevent the virus? What are ways that we can do to contain the virus? You need to ask yourself all these different questions, the CDC, and instead they keep coming up with this nonsensical bullshit about you can get it in the air, you can't get it in the air, you can't get it in the air, yes you can now get it in the air. It's like, make up your fucking mind already. Useless bunch of a-holes anyway. Okay, let me continue here. Aerosolized virus particles help explain why masks prevent infections from spreading when worn, those that are already infected. Now we face a new situation where the CDC can't decide its positions are determined by politics, as I just said, and not science. The truth is the coronavirus can't spread through the air. Then neither can influenza and other respiratory illnesses for that matter. What the CDC is finally coming around and recognizing 8 months too late, of course, better never than late, I guess, with the CDC, is the reason masks help spread respiratory infection is because they trap it in the spit particles of people who are infected. Masks offer no real protection to wearers other than no real protection to wearers who are not yet infected, but they do trap spit ejections from those that are carriers. The simple fact yet to be recognized by the anti-mask advocates across any media who continue to falsely claim that masks can't work and might even be dangerous. Notably, the coronavirus travels attached to spit particles, which are much larger than the virus itself, which explains why masks have weave fibers, which much larger than the virus can still trap, traveling on larger respiratory particles. One of the arguments of the anti-mask advocates has been that masks can't trap the coronavirus because the virus is physically too small to be caught through the mask fibers. But those making the argument fail to recognize that the virus isn't traveling in the air all by itself. It's attached to larger spit particles, which are easily trapped by the N95 mask or even bandanas. So, that is a good point. They make a very, very good point that if that is the case, if this is airborne, like the CDC is finally saying with the coronavirus, COVID-19, that when you talk and if you spit like that, you spit, and your spit particles come out of your mouth, that what they're basically saying that could have the coronavirus in your spit. You could be contaminated. You could be infected. I don't want to say contaminated because a lot of people take offense to that, but you could be infected with that spit, and that spit travel through the air and maybe land on somebody, and God heaven forbid, then they catch the novel coronavirus. Okay, let's continue here. I'm almost done, folks. The White House outbreak spreads to 29 people and counting. Many are currently speculating President Trump caught the coronavirus, but he refused to wear a mask even while interacting with large numbers of people also not wearing masks. So far, the coronavirus outbreak has spread to 29 people in the White House, many of those closest to the president. There is evidence indicating that the virus can spread under certain conditions via smaller airborne particles to people who were more than 6 feet away, reports the Wall Street Journal. This means that 6-foot social distancing guidelines is nonsense. Viruses don't magically stop at 6 feet, the CDC goes on to say. I totally agree. How the fuck does the virus going to know? Is the virus measuring 6 feet? Is the virus saying, well, you got to stay 6 feet away? Folks, you have to have some critical thinking here. Who the hell, and somebody would say, well, Eric, now you're arguing with science. You don't know anything. You're an idiot. No. Who the hell came up with this 6-foot rule? You can sneeze, and the sneeze can travel anywhere from, 6 feet, maybe 3 to 6 feet, maybe to 10 feet or farther. You can cough, and then maybe the cough goes over 6 feet. If you happen to cough or something like that, and when you talk, maybe your spit might go over, for 3, 4, 5 feet. You don't know. But viruses don't stop at 6 feet. Again, we have to use some critical thinking skills. Most people don't have any. They are lacking in all areas. But you have to use some critical thinking skills here, folks, and just think that this ridiculous, nonsensical bullshit of a virus stopping at 6 feet is insanity. A virus is going to stop where a virus wants to stop. It might be a foot, it might be 6 inches, it might be 10 feet. You don't know. There's no magic rule that this bullshit that continues to go on and on and on, and they continue to play it out. There's no magic rule to where a virus is going to stop and where a virus is going to start. So that's just a bunch of nonsensical bullshit, 100%. Okay, let's finish this up here real quick. The right-wing indie media outlets continue to claim the coronavirus is a hoax and doesn't exist and kill no one. The vast majority of right-wing independent media outlets have claimed the COVID-19 pandemic is a hoax, often insisting that there is no such thing as a coronavirus or any virus. And the recent infection of President Donald Trump should have ended the hoax narrative, but it hasn't. Now, many of the same outlets are claiming Trump faked the infection because he's going into a deep bunker to launch 500,000 arrested deep state traitors, although we wish such an event would take place to remove deep state traitors from power. This is a narrative of pure fiction, and Trump isn't faking his illness. Sources tell Natural News that President Trump will be leaving Walter Reed at 6:30 Eastern Time today, which means his stay in the hospital is quite short. His battle with the coronavirus infection, as a matter of fact, humbled the president, made him more compassionate and understanding of others who are battling the affliction. It might even turn out Trump's fight with COVID wins him just enough sympathy in voters to hand him a popular vote victory in November, if not the Electoral College victory. Strangely enough, Trump being infected with the Wuhan coronavirus might be the thing that saves his presidency. Okay, let me know what you think of that, folks. I think that the coronavirus is real, but I think that you have to use precautions and common sense. And I think that the flu is real. We all know the flu. The flu last year killed over 683,000 people globally. The flu, 683,000 people. So, the flu is just as much, if not more, deadly worldwide than this coronavirus. I think the coronavirus, again, as I say, President Trump is vulnerable. He's 70-some years old, I believe 74. Vice President Joe Biden is the same thing. Former Vice President Joe Biden, he's up in his 70s. So they're vulnerable. They're older. They're vulnerable. President Trump's supposed to be in good shape. So I would expect him to come out of here very, very quickly and very, very soon. Also, people that have respiratory problems, the very young, the very old, people that just don't take care of themselves. I can expect that they might get sick. So, I'm not saying that this doesn't exist. It does exist, but it's few and far between. Those people that are unhealthy and different things like that don't take care of themselves, that have respiratory problems in their body, or they have a deficiency somewhere in their body and do catch it, my sympathy and my prayers go right along with them. But again, it's just like anything else in life. When you use some common sense and you apply a little bit of critical thinking, 99.9% of the time, when you just use your head and use your brain, folks, you're going to be okay. This is Eric Erb from Eric Erb Live. You can find me online at ericerbshow.com on Twitter, and right here on Spreaker, spreaker.com/Eric Erb Live. Then, of course, right here on Anchor, that's anchor.fm, anchor.fm/Eric Erb Live. Like, share, subscribe if you like this podcast, folks, and most importantly, stay safe and God bless.